What is going on? Welcome to the latest episode of Making the Case for Your Lawyer Dreams. This is episode 76, you guys, where we have lawyers, judges, law students, experts in admissions share their journey to inspire you guys and give you guys the resources you need to take the next step in your journey. I'm so excited to have you guys with me today. I also have my students from PreLaw who are here as well. Welcome. I'm happy to have you guys here. I'm really excited. I don't know, for some reason I have a lot of energy for this show. It's been a long day, but nevertheless, I'm really excited to be able to have you guys here. My name is Anthony, founder of BecomingJD, where our goal, our purpose is to give you guys the resources and the tips, to help you guys successfully navigate this journey. We've been blessed to have so many guests from all different walks of life. And I'm really excited about the guests that we have today for Making the Case. We got Michael, Morgan, and we also have her sister as well. I'm really excited about this, and I want to make sure that you guys are able to lock in. Acceptances are coming, and I want you guys to make sure that you're locking in if, in fact, you haven't got the acceptance. If, in fact, you've been eluding the bar passage, I want to make sure that you catch these gems so that way you guys are able to manifest your lawyer dreams. Whatever challenge you're going through, fam, there's somebody else out there doing what you want to do who's overcame those same challenges. So make sure that you guys lock in, all right? So, of course, I'm holding it down in St. Louis, Missouri. It is definitely not the place where I want to be, but it is the place where God has me. So let me know in the chat. Let me know where you're viewing our session from. Let me know also what questions that you may have. I do not like just talking to a screen. I want to make sure that you guys are coming away fed and have a clear message in regards to what you want to do. So make sure you ask these amazing sisters, the law chicks, questions. What's going on, Crystal? What's going on, Nakia? Questions. So you guys can make sure that you can lock in. Because these amazing sisters became lawyers, and they're here because they want to help you guys become lawyers too. So I'm going to go ahead and send a link so they can go ahead and join us. But I want you guys also to make sure that you utilize this space to get the answers that you need. Grades are coming in. For my 1Ls, congratulations for finishing off your first year of law school. For those people who may not have had the best first year of law school, I want to make sure that you guys are ready. So we already got one of our sisters here. What's going on, sis?
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having us on the show. I'm Michael Martin, one half of the Law Chicks, and my sister will be joining, I think, momentarily, Morgan Martin. Can you hear and see me okay?
Absolutely. I just wanted to make sure my face was cut off for a second.
Let me move it down. Is that better?
Absolutely. But
Okay.
nevertheless, I'm so excited to have you guys here. I think one of the goals of our show, the whole message of our whole entire platform, is to be able to normalize our excellence and normalize us being able to overcome obstacles. Because I'm sure we all know that when we go into spaces, oftentimes we may see very few people who look like us, who want to be lawyers, who are practicing law, but at least in the space of Becoming JD and so many other amazing platforms out there, you guys are being able to see people do what you want to do. So since you're here first, I want you to go ahead and formally introduce yourself, one half of the Law Chicks, so we go ahead and get this party started.
Yes, so hey y'all, I'm Michael Martin coming from you in Los Angeles, California. I think my sister's having a little bit of an issue joining in our joint account, so she's going to join from hers, and if you could let her in,
Oh, absolutely.
would be great. And are you still seeing me okay?
Yeah, we're great. We're great.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure. Okay. Yes. So Michael Martin from Los Angeles, California. I'm currently a BARD attorney here practicing civil rights on the plaintiff's side. So you can be a plaintiff's lawyer. Okay. We don't see a lot of us in plaintiff's law, particularly not Black women. So I love to talk about that tonight for anyone who is on that track or wants to do that. I am a class of 2024 Columbia University JD MBA. So Columbia Law School and Columbia Business School. And I'm here to answer any and all questions to help you on your law school journey and to also thrive while you're in law school as well and post-law school. And I will kick it off now to Morgan.
Hi, thank you for having me. My name is Morgan. I am the other half of the Law Chick coming to you live from LA. I just made the move back from New York, just graduated with a 4-year JD MBA from Columbia as well. And I am currently, prayers up, studying for the California bar to take it in July, and took the New York bar in February. So hopefully I'm going to become double barred. Thank you for having me.
And again, I'm so excited to be able to have you guys on. I've watched you guys from afar, and I was just like, for me, I always tell people life is about being able to reach out to our community to be able to
Absolutely.
inspire more people. And I love what you guys are doing. Yo, y'all out there, y'all better follow the Law Chicks. They're doing a lot of amazing things. And guess what, man?
Thank you so much.
They want to help you guys do well too. Oftentimes on this journey, and I'm sure both of you guys can attest to this, there's times where we may feel like we're riding solo. And we may feel oftentimes very overwhelmed and thinking that we're all alone, and what we may be struggling with is something that only speaks specifically to us, when really everybody on the struggle bus. Am I right, y'all?
Oh, absolutely. Could not agree with you
So
more.
one of the things I love to just leap in and just join with you guys is, I'm going to show my age a little bit, but that's fine. That's cool. Is one question I always ask all my guests, and I love hearing you guys' stories about this, is when did you guys fall in love with law? For you guys who do not know what that comes from the movie Brown Sugar. They came back out in the 90s. So I don't know. Y'all may need to check it out with Shania Lathan and Tay Diggs. But when did you guys both fall in love with law?
Michael, do you want to take this one first? You want me to go? Oh, is she there?
I think she froze. We'll get her back. But
Okay,
go
no
ahead.
problem. I would say for me it was as a child. So we grew up in a household, two parents, attorneys, running a law firm together, one of the largest Black female-owned civil rights law firms in California. And it's in our blood. We literally, my first jobs was working in their firm, like alphabetizing. I did the reception job. I've worked my way up until now being an attorney, and just seeing the power of advocacy and the outcomes that, having the power to um, create change in people's lives really, really was instilled in me from growing up until now. So that's really what inspired me to get into law, basically since childhood.
And I guess the thing that's oftentimes amazing is that when law is a part of your life, oftentimes it becomes so important for you to be able to find your own unique niche of why it's something that's important to you. So when it came to you, when did you realize, because law was your life, literally all the way around you, when did you realize, man, you know what? I'm feeling this. I think I want to go ahead and go further with this on my own.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great question. I think for me, so my brother has autism, and just seeing how much advocacy was important, even to fight for his rights,
Right.
and wanting to be able to do that for other people in similar positions, particularly people of marginalized communities who so often don't have the resources. I saw the power of that, and it was so personal to me seeing a family member needing that advocacy on his behalf. So I think seeing that sparked that for me, and then actually going to law school definitely affirmed it
Yeah.
when I got to have a series of separate experiences that were, separate from my family, where I got to work in clinics or help my own clients one-on-one, and seeing the reactions and the positive impact having on them. I just finished a clinic actually, and people, I worked in consumer debt court, and seeing their debt be discontinued, and you never know how much that little piece, yes, can help them. So that drove me and definitely affirmed my decision to want to be in the law.
And welcome back to us, little sis. But when it comes to you, Michael, when did you realize, like, man, you know what? I know my fam is the law, but when did you realize, I really love this? Because I tell people, and I made a post about this earlier, like, we have to be built differently to want to become lawyers. I made the post on a reel prior to this where it was talking about, we got people on OnlyFans making $21 million, buying 3 homes, and
That's
we sitting
real.
over
That
here
is so
broke
real.
saying that we want to be lawyers. And
Yes.
so it ain't about the money. It has to be about something else. So what was the thing, the driving force for you to be able to say, you know what, this is something that I want to do? I think
We can't
she's
hear you,
on mute.
Michael. No. There we go. Yes, we're back. We're back.
Advocacy, keyword. So seeing the power of law and seeing how it can just change lives and seeing how much it's needed. So Morgan talked about clinic. I wanted to take homeless law in law school and policy because we're in LA where homelessness is, it's no secret, is a major issue. And that class was really informative because it just showed so many of the tropes around homelessness, how it's been characterized to
Right.
have a stigma, rather than focusing really on the economics that makes it so inaccessible for housing and instead puts it on the the homeless person, that there's something wrong with you, all this shame, and rather than focusing on the larger societal issue. So classes like that to me really showed why you need lawyers, why you need folks who care, because, while there's a lot of great things, that's what's allowed someone, like Morgan and I to be where we are right now, there's also still a lot more work to go. And building on legacy is important to me. So Morgan touched upon on our parents. We would not be here if it wasn't for the legacy of our parents and grandparents. We are Black women in America. So not too long ago, we would have been, in slavery. We would have been in Jim Crow. It's not that
Couldn't
long
vote.
ago. All history's trying to rewrite that, and we can't let them. So these are just some of the reasons why, for me, law and practicing it now just further affirms that. When I have clients that I know would otherwise not be getting legal help for their families, whether in school bullying or the like, and being able to help a student currently in their family and their stories, it just means the world.
And one of the things for you guys who just joined us, we are live and in full effect with the Law Chicks. I call them the two unicorns. Only 2% of lawyers are Black women.
Oh,
And we have one family that got two of them, y'all.
We actually
Two
have
of them.
three with our mom
three.
too.
Well,
Three.
Three
yep.
and
Well,
four with
four
our
with my
father.
dad. So
So
And
all
so
four
I
out of
want to
five.
make sure that you guys utilizes the space to ask them questions. Just don't sit and watch. To my students out there at Clio, make sure you utilize this space to ask questions because I want you guys to come away fed. Now, one of the things I always love to ask is, for most of our life and for so many people out there on their lawyer journey, let's keep it a buck. Undergrad was kind of easy. Undergrad really wasn't as demanding. But then that shift happens when, oh, dang, I got to take the LSAT. Okay, I got to make some changes. Oh, dang, I go to law school. Man, what worked back then ain't working. So, Michael, I want to ask you first. When did you realize, okay, I got to make some changes? When was that pivot moment for you? Was it the LSAT? Was it law school after getting called on in class? Where you realized I had to make some changes in order to continue on that pathway towards success?
that's a great question. So, because I'm a JD MBA, I decided to do the GRE so that I could apply to both. And I want to share this so that anyone who thinks that you have to do something 2 times, 3 times, or more, there's no shame in that. Do what you got to do and do not give up. And so I took the GRE twice. And that was a time that showed that, the first time was okay, but I wanted to make some changes for the second time. And so that required me to really, as I say, get in my bag, but not about money, but in my strategy bag about some things to do differently the second time, which definitely started to prepare me. I didn't know it then, but would for the rigorous study of law school and just the time commitment that is required and the perseverance as well. I think that's something that you've mentioned in terms of perseverance is needed for law school. It is not an easy journey. There are a lot of ups and downs. And so that's just one example of something that started preparing me without me even knowing it, and to be able to just continue to get back up even when things didn't maybe go according to plan. And here I am now. I took that, I think, a year before I applied, so almost 5 years later, right, and it's all paid off.
And just to hammer, to follow what she was saying, for you guys out there are multiple pathways for you to go to law school. Of course, the traditional way if we take the LSAT, but we do also have the GRE, and also now, of course, we got that new test that's going on right now in regards to the JD Next. Do not be hard on yourself if you have to retake these tests. Life is life in everybody, and more likely than not, the people in admissions, guess what, y'all? They've been there too. But what you want to be able to understand is if you have to retake these tests, make sure that you're not doing it from a position of having an ego. What I mean by that is, man, I'm about to go back and sign up on this job. If you don't know what you did wrong, more likely you're going to make the same damn mistake. Because I could definitely attest to that because your boy took it 7 times. And I probably should have just waited, reset, took some time to study, but I didn't. I was ignorant. Sometimes it's okay to wait to prepare and make changes to your bag, like sis did here. Now, Morgan, now tell me, sis, what was that challenge like for you when you realized, okay, I got to make some changes if I want this dream to come true?
Yes. Well, to add to your point, nothing humbles you like the law school process and like law school itself. You come out with a whole different perspective and a new lease on life when you work hard towards something that takes that long and that much energy. I think for me, it was definitely early on, first semester of law school, it was like, okay, in undergrad, I'm getting these A's. You get your report card back.
Right.
You're like, for me, at least A. I'm like, okay, this will be a cakewalk. Even for me, parents are lawyers. I was born for this. And then you get those first semester grades back, and you're like, oh, this isn't how the
Yeah.
testing used to be like, and this is subjective instead of objective. And you kind of have to think way differently, basically, and adjust your mindset to thinking like a lawyer, which is really what law school does. So I think I took a step back and met with some mentors, met with some professors, understood the law school process better, and made great improvements my second semester. But overall, the techniques that worked for me in that stage of life, I had to make adjustments to be successful in law school. So that's another lesson, is just maybe what worked for you back then may not work for you now, but you can always adjust strategy wise.
And I think one of the things that becomes so important is, and both Morgan and Michael hinted on it, you got to ask for help,
Yes.
y'all. And let's be honest. We all family, cousins, and kinfolk here, all going for the same thing. For most of your life, you've been able to do things riding solo dolo and been pretty successful at it. Let's keep it honest, right? 3 8s, 3 9s, made all the honor rolls, all the honor corps. We had it rolling in high school and in college, going a certain way. But in order to make that shift, I think it becomes important for us to be comfortable enough to be able to ask for help. And asking for help is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign of strength, saying, okay, this is expensive, right? These mistakes are expensive, right?
Amen.
So maybe I could get it right by asking someone. So for you guys out there who may be struggling with the LSAT, we have an LSAT support group, free 99. Join it and ask for help. You're struggling with the bar exam. We have people who literally help you guys with the bar exam. You are not on this journey alone, you guys. You have so many people, us included, who all want to see you win. Because when we roll up in court, be like, we do the count. How many you see? 1, 2, 3. And we want to be able to keep going like this.
Yes.
The only way that happens with you guys is being able to utilize the resources that are available to you. Now, one of the things I love is, like, when people first start or leading up to law school, we read all the books, the old movies. Of course, now the movie everybody watches is Legally Blonde. I know in my age, we watched Paper Chase. All these movies, right? Or all these books and movies about the Socratic method. And oftentimes it creates a sense of intimidation or fear before we even walk into the class. You walk in, you're like, damn, I gotta sit where? Oh my God. So Michael, tell me about your first experience with the Socratic method and how you learned from it. Because I think what's important is everybody has that horrific experience, but then that shift is like, okay, all right, bet. I ain't scared no more. Bring it on.
So I'm going to give 2 quick examples. My actual first Socratic method was Columbia has, I think it's called Legal Methods. Was that Morgan? Legal Methods. Really great professor. I loved him. And I had done the reading. So I was prepared. So that's one thing is I know the reading, it gets to be a lot. And we can definitely go over some tips and tricks for that, because there is the reality of life and wanting to go to sleep and hang out with your friends. But I was prepared for that. So, and thankfully he was not kind of that old school, just kind of hammer on you, right? It was more collaborative and conversational. And so that one, I hadn't been called for some days. I knew it was coming because everybody, you could tell, was going to be called on, but it went well. So I would say take a deep breath. And if you've done the preparation and, you're a future lawyer, so maybe you don't answer the question directly back, you redirect. That's okay, right? So even if you like redirect is okay. I want to give my second example. I'm now a 3L. I'm supposed to be all big and bad and experienced. And I've shared a little bit on our Law Chicks platform, how my last semester of school, so spring of 2024, was very challenging. Just the burnout. You're at the end and trying to finish. And I went blank. I actually never had that. So I want to mention this other side to help folks who, if that does happen, I went blank. And thankfully, I think in this era where there is more awareness that the hammering in just it's not effective, the professor moved on. And so I'm not saying that may happen for every professor. I realize that I maybe was fortunate with that, but it did happen to me. So I also want to just say, if it does happen, Nobody's going to remember. I know you may think in that moment, but nobody's going to remember. So I share that story with you so that if it does happen to you, don't leave thinking, oh, I'm not, I'm dumb. I'm not worth it. No, you're human. It happened. And so continue to hold your head up high and know that you still got this and you're going to finish and go on to be a great lawyer. So I just want to share both.
And just a sidebar, Morgan, I'm going to ask a question. I mean, if you don't know the answer, is that going to affect your score on the final? I'm just asking because I think a lot of people are so afraid
Absolutely
to
not.
talk. They're like, oh my God, this is going to destroy me.
Absolutely not. The professor will not even remember your cold call, quite frankly. Nobody in the class is going to remember your cold call, quite frankly. And you're not the first person, and you will not be the last person. I know in the moment, your heart's beating and your palms start sweating, and you're like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. Half the class is checked out. I'm going to be
Yeah.
real with you,
Yeah.
not paying attention to what you're saying. And the professor is really just trying to prove whatever point they're trying to make. So they're focused on getting to the answer. And if it's not you, that's okay. They'll either get there with another student or they'll say something that drives home the point they're making. My little pro tip, at a minimum, if you are not able to get to all the reading, it happens to all of us, know the facts and have like a written summary of something to say. And then sometimes it happens to all of us. You can respectfully ask for maybe a pass that day or
Yes.
let the professor know beforehand that you're not prepared. Don't make a habit of it, of course. But again, as some said earlier, life, so you're not always going to be prepared. But it's not the be all end all, and it's not going to make or break your success in the final or law school.
Absolutely. Now, one of the things I want to touch base on is I feel like we're now in an era where we have mental health and self care. And I never forget because I'm a big Insecure fan. Remember when they talked about self care Sundays and all those things like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
I definitely really went in on that. But I want to ask you guys this. And Michael, you can just jump in on this. Like, law schools have an abundance of resources to be able to help you. And I want you to tell me about some of the resources that people may overlook that are available at law schools that can help you. I want you guys, law schools needs you to be successful. They are looking at the numbers, especially numbers of us, and they need us to win. But oftentimes we do not reach out to those resources, either one, because we don't know them, or as we do traditionally, we just try to, we're in the grind mode where we're going to put it on our back like Atlas and try to figure it out.
Two quick ones come to mind. One, your friends. So I do want to touch upon that. I think a lot of people, I was fortunate that I met lifelong friends there. And so having people that I could understood, I know some people say, they liked having friends outside of school, which I did have, but I do think there's something about having friends in that journey with you that understand that you're not tripping, that you're not exaggerating, that this is hard. So I would say lean into your community of friends. And maybe if you haven't, I know sometimes that can be challenging in terms of the time or you haven't maybe found your niche, but I would say don't give up. It's worth it. And you don't need a whole gang. It could be one, it could be two. So I would say, lean into your clubs, lean into your student clubs. The one good thing about law school, there's an abundance usually of clubs, at least at Columbia there was. So there's something for everybody usually, or enough, or start one. That's also where, lawyers, we do the initiative, start one. And again, you don't need a whole lot of folks. That's one. And then two, I would say your dean of students can also be a really great resource, or your academic advisor, in terms of being, developing a relationship if you can early on. But even if you never did, just walk into your student's office and say, hey, can I talk to somebody, confidentially about some questions that I have, or what other resources don't I know that the school has. So I would say one thing is, as you said earlier, don't be afraid to ask. I think one of the biggest things is that we don't ask, so then you don't learn. So ask. That's what you're there for. That's what you're paying for. As a parent thought, you're paying for this.
Yes.
So get what you're paying for. You deserve to get help.
And Morgan, we see Tomorrow asked a question in the chat about commercial outlines and how usable they are. Honestly, my opinion is that's the thing that we buy our first year and we end up not because they're not what the professor is saying all the time. But I want you to go ahead and give your insights and thoughts on that.
I fully agree. I did not use commercial outlines. First of all, they're not applicable to, depending on what your teacher professes, to your class. Each professor creates their own syllabus of what they're going to cover specifically. And the best method of success is to find a previous student who took that professor's class and find either one of their outlines or a number of them, and then a combination of your own notes and that outline. The work's already been done for you. It's up to you if you want to completely rewrite it or not. But the commercials are too general for you to be successful on the final. They may be helpful for the bar perhaps later, but there are other resources for that. So I would save your money, personally skip the commercial outlines, and look for outline banks on your campus
Yeah.
for your specific courses and professor.
Yeah, one of the corny things I told my students earlier today is I said it's kind of like Pokemon. It's like you when it comes to finals, exams, and things like that, even the bar exam, really, it comes down to can you catch them all? When I say catch them all, can you get all these points? It's
Absolutely.
a hunt for points, and a commercial outline is going to help you get maybe the general points,
Put you on
the
the
obvious
board.
points,
Right.
right? But that's not going to be that's not going to make the difference between you getting a B minus and an A. And literally the margins are slim. And so you want to make sure. I remember someone said there's no shortcuts in law school. You just gotta grin and bear it and just really struggle and find your way out. Now, one of the questions I also want to ask you, Morgan, is I want you to tell me, like, for example, I want you to share, like, what was that experience like for you when you graduated from law school? Because I think what's so amazing is it's like for so many of us, when we graduated from college, it was like, I got more stuff to do. And I wondered for you, what was it like when you graduated from law? I mean, this is a big accomplishment, but you already know the plans of what you had laid out to do next.
Yeah, it was great and it felt amazing. Celebrate with family and friends, but literally immediately after comes the bar, dark cloud, right over you. In fact, you're like, I gotta get out of this party because I got books to hit. Bars are 10 weeks away. I'm there now again. So it's one of those things. I do think that's the nature of law school, where you achieve one thing on your checklist and you're on to the
Yeah.
next, and you kind of have to remember to slow down and enjoy those wins.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, before law school, I prayed to get here. I prayed to get the GRE. I prayed to, get into whatever law review I was hoping for. I prayed to get into whatever clinic. You accomplish it, and then you kind of completely ignore all the work, or at least to stop and celebrate all the work that you did to get there. So that is something I try to tell other law school graduates. I can't say it's advice I followed myself, but it's something we can all strive to be better at, is to celebrate the big and small ones.
I mean, because literally the turnaround between graduation and bar prep, I think for my school, it may have been a week. And it's like, you're on this high, then it's like you're in bar prep class and your eyes are like, oh my God. I remember this stuff from first year of law school, but damn, I got to really refresh my memory. So, Michael, I want you to tell me, I love asking people these questions. Tell me the story of how it was, where you were when you found out that you passed the bar. What were you doing? Because I think that's just an amazing experience.
I'm actually sitting right where I found out, in where I live, and I was on my computer. I was on a FaceTime with my boyfriend, and uh, the California Bar is supposed to release it, I think, at on the hour. I don't want to say the hour if it's correct, but on the hour. It was now like 4 minutes, 5 minutes past. It's not there. I'm panicking. I'm like, this is one thing in my life I don't want to do this again.
Come on
I'm
now.
like, God, please. And then I refresh, and then it says, it's there. And then I click on it. It said pass. I screamed. I yelled. I started crying, and it was just. I don't think I felt a relief. I don't know if I felt a relief like that yet in my life, of just like, I am done with this, intense studying and the books, and I could put it down and kind of move on with my journey. So that's how I found out. And then, I called my parents and called my friends and family, and that was how I found out. And it was just such a relief.
And Morgan, how about you?
Yeah, I was in court actually,
Wow.
and it was for New York. They don't tell you what day it's gonna come out. So I had been
Wow.
scanning the Reddit chat boards online, like, what are predictions for the worst? Don't do that. Don't listen to me. But like, what date is it coming out? And I'm sitting on the bench in the courthouse, and someone from my one of my work intern colleagues messages and said the bar results are out, and I was sitting next to one of the other interns. So we kind of look at each other, and I was like, it's a little awkward. Like, are we going to open this right now? He's like, yeah, we're opening this right now. Like, we're not about to wait. So we both pull up our laptops. My heart starts beating, and I literally started shaking. And I open it, and I see the pass score because he's right next to me. I wanted to be polite, so I just held my breath, and I was like still as a board. And then he looked at me and then he was like, "Did you pass?" And then I said, "Yep." And we fist bumped. And then we could finally let it out. But it was like, that was the moment. Well, I'll never forget sitting next to him getting the results. So.
And the reason why I asked you guys to share your stories for you guys out there to be able to realize that it is a lot of hard work and sacrifice. But nearly, I want you guys to be able to understand that it's still possible.
Yeah.
Is it going to be hard? Hell yeah, it's going to be hard. But it's going to push you, it's going to grow you. And the thing about it is, guess what? Then after that, it's the next step. And the thing that's amazing is I want you guys all out there to be able to understand that every step in this process is that you're growing, you're pivoting and making changes. These two amazing law chicks here before you guys, they may have the same name and the same last name when they started this journey, but so much transformations happen along this way. You gonna say something, Michael?
No, I was just agreeing. I was agreeing. Yes. The same.
So
Thank you. Yes.
if you're struggling right now, it's because you're undergoing a transformation. Prepare. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I'll be honest with you guys, it does start with the LSAT. That's the first time. But it's something that's going to continue to evolve along that process. And the thing that's so crazy is you consume yourself with these bar books and these LSAT books. I just ask you guys randomly, where y'all bar books at now?
I'm back
Right?
in California, so I have mine. But
I think
I
they're in
put
the
them to the
trash.
side. I tell
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
I swear I wanted to have like a birdie, but it's just so exhausting afterwards. You're just happy to be at that next step. And I think
Yes.
what's amazing for a lot of people is I want people to be able to understand the struggle is a part of the process. And so, Morgan, if you could be vulnerable for a moment, tell us out there some of the struggles that you encountered on this journey. Because I want people to understand out there the struggles that you're going through. It's just a part of the process. They'll be like, oh man, they went to Colombia. They must have had it easy. No, it ain't none of this journey easy.
Where to begin? I would say two things that come to mind for me are my third year in particular, which would have been the year that I was supposed to graduate, but since I did a 4-year dual degree, it got extended to 4 years instead of 3. I experienced probably the worst bout of burnout that I've had. Definitely depression, definitely anxiety attacks, and just not like, I'm normally very extroverted, social, filling the calendar, just this like internal sadness kind of looming over me. And I think it was just all that work and everything, not stopping to breathe, and self-care, as we referenced earlier, was not really existent. It was just like, got to get to the next goal, got to get to the next goal. So that was very painful, and honestly, I don't want to say unexpected, but I guess it was. Like, I hadn't really heard about that happening to other law students, because I think they graduate and then they, you don't really see them anymore. So I'm sure it is very, very common. So that's one. And then two, just referencing going to Colombia, people know what's happening with it in the news, and I was there the last 2 years that all of the chaos has kind of been happening. So hasn't been that glamorous. Actually, has made the experience way worse. Kind of going to a school where you don't really feel like the administration is fully supportive. So on top of law school already being challenging, then dealing with kind of outside life chaos. So those are my two examples of challenges in law school.
And what about you, Michael?
I would say my first that happened right after first semester, and kind of like Morgan, unexpected. But I guess on one hand, we now know should have been expected. It was just the burnout of everything leading up to law school. Then the first semester, it's crazy. And then the way that, you apply to jobs, you're applying to jobs for the summer while you're taking your finals. And how I knew that something wasn't right was I had accomplished all my goals. I had actually gotten into Columbia Business School that first semester. So I also was recruiting for that, which was also just beyond intense. And I got my job. I got my offer, actually. I think I was one of the few first people in my kind of community that I knew to get a job. I didn't share it. And that's how I started to realize, like, I went back to New York after going to break. I was sad. I went out, I think, to a store, and I panicked. And so I recognized that I had panic attacks, and I was just completely burnt out. I was just completely exhausted and not even happy for all of these accomplishments. So that required I got some help for that, and spoke up about that, and so was able, clearly did finish, and I was able to kind of regain the joy and all the things. And another one I mentioned earlier in this show was my last semester in particular of law school and business school. All the same symptoms came back because it's so much, but now it was 10 times worse. And then also dealing with Morgan State Columbia administration. So I do think there should, I hope that our conversation and others can bring to light that there are a lot of different emotions. I think, as Morgan said, we just graduate and we leave, but sadness, and not that we want this to be common, but it is common, and depressive like symptoms, and if you're also trying to live a whole life, which Morgan and I both did try to do, and it's a lot. So do not think that you're the only one going through it. Is hopefully a message that people take away from today.
And one of the things I just want to piggyback, I hope you guys realize the value of seeking out resources and help. Literally, for most law schools, they also do provide health insurance, which allows you to get counseling and services like that. And also, of course, there are free counseling services you also can get access to if you're not yet in law school as well. Now, I tell people, let's keep it a book. Even though it's definitely these exciting moments, man, I got the job. Man, I just passed the bar. I'm about to get double barred. But also in the midst of that, I tell people, man, there's a lot of lows before you get to those highs. And around this time of years where, in addition to us celebrating people graduating from school, celebrating people passing the bar, unfortunately, there are also people who may have got dismissed from law school, people who unfortunately may not have passed the bar. And one of the things I love doing is giving you guys the floor to provide some words of encouragement, because a lot of people are on the cusp of wanting to quit. And I think oftentimes hearing words of encouragement from people who've been where they are, who want to be where you are, I think oftentimes will be priceless. So, Morgan, you want to go first? It'll be fine.
Yeah, I hear that and I feel that, and I don't even like when I can say that I empathize, and that basically we have all been at a place where something did not go right. Nothing is perfect for anybody. And back to when I said earlier, nothing humbles you like this process. Truly, we will all be humbled at some point. I had moments. Michael mentioned she was one of the first to get her jobs, her 1L year. I think I was one of the last, just by virtue of how different things happened that year. So I was worried I wasn't going to have a job one of the summers.
Yeah.
And then I also applied to business school, which is, I know, separate thing, but not once, not twice, but 3 times to get this JD MBA. And I really almost gave up, that second time. So I just want to encourage people that if you want something, bad enough, take the time to mourn. Of course, like that's normal and natural, and you have to go through that grieving process. But get back up and make your dreams happen, because no one's going to fight for you like you. And in the end, it ends up being worth it. And obviously, you'll remember what you went through, but you'll be so glad. It's so gratifying. It made it that much sweeter at my graduation with the JD MBA, knowing that all the work and hard and determination that went into it, and that I didn't give up. So do what works for you. Again, take the time off. Change your strategy. That's also very important. If something's not going right, it's usually a reason. Doesn't mean you have to point the finger. Doesn't mean you need to be hard on yourself, but change up your strategy. Maybe you need to talk to someone who's been in your shoes before. Or maybe you need to do more politicking and talk to someone in a position who's able to help you. But there's always, where there's a will, there's a way. That's my saying. So we're rooting for you, and you can reach whatever goal you're trying to accomplish.
I love it. What you got to say, Michael?
Piggybacking off of that, I have a video on our Law Chicks page where I said, if you want something, go for it. You might have to take a break. You might have to pause. You might have to pivot, but do not give up. Everything, life it's like a river. It's a flow, and there's going to be adversity. I think that's something that, we don't talk a lot about in our society. We think it's supposed to be kind of immutable. That's not life.
Yeah.
That's not even the weather conditions. It's not. It's dynamic. So. Like Morgan said, you might need to look at your strategy. You might need to look at not just external, but internal. Maybe there's things within yourself that you have to change, and that's okay. That this is a journey, of progression. So, and I would say, have milestones while you are keep going, right? So you said like you maybe yourself, took the LSAT too many times back to back. Maybe you need to rest. So I think, take the break, and then let's come up with the game plan of like, this is what I'm doing, every Monday, and I'm gonna have these non-negotiables that I do for the week. And maybe I don't know the full picture, but these are for sure the steps that I'm going to take week after week. And then I'm going to assess. I'm not just going to do the same thing for 3 months and I'm not assessing what's going on, because you could still be on the wrong path. So I would really say be strategic, be intentional about any changes that you think you might need to make. And the last thing I want to say is be coachable, because you've talked about how there's a lot of help. But help, and Morgan and I are both former elite level athletes, you got to be able to also take the constructive criticism. It doesn't mean that you have to take 100% of
Love
everything,
that.
but part of having resources is you do have to be able to hear, oh, dang, they called me out on that one. Okay, I don't really like that. But you know what? This is for my benefit, not the coach's benefit. It's for your benefit. So I would say when you are on your plan of, figuring it out and reorganizing to get back up to whatever goal that you unfortunately didn't accomplish the first time, is when you are getting counsel, if you're lucky to have the wise counsel, listen to it and implement it. And also
Absolutely, guys.
give back.
And we're live in full effect with the Law Chicks, Attorney Michelle and Attorney Michael Martin. And I want you guys to also tell us a little bit about what the Law Chicks is doing. And so we want to make sure that we're supporting you guys and the vision of what you guys want to do.
Go ahead. You can jump
Yeah.
in, Marie.
So the Law Chicks is comprised of me and my mom and my sister, and it was kind of just born after the two of us got into law school. And really, what our goal is knowing the stats. As there are 2% of Black females and less than 5% of Black people as lawyers in general, is to create paths, to provide resources, to share our journey, to help other people take that step forward, along with wanting to be, Michael and I, civil rights attorneys and follow in our parents' footsteps and legacy, to continue to do things like close the wealth gap, close, the bridge for people who are marginalized communities, and just continue to be a voice for people who, really don't have a voice, while bringing people along with us to help. So we're really all about the community and all about sharing resources.
And one of the things I definitely wanted to say out there, you guys, listen, you have an abundance of people here praying and rooting for you. Please do not just sit here and consume this information and not do anything with it. You have two talented unicorns who are creating a platform, the Law Chicks. They want to help you, but you kind of got to reach out. I'm just going to ask straight up, Michael, have you ever cursed anybody out who tried to holler at you on in a DM about becoming a lawyer? Because I just got to get that fear out the window first.
No, not gonna happen, because I would not be here if other people had not helped me both in and out of my family. I believe in the power of bringing people along. So there will be no cursing out. And we put out content almost every day
Thank you.
here on TikTok, on my LinkedIn under Michael Martin. So there is a plethora of content, not just about law, but also after
Yeah.
law. So I think to help show what the power of law, whether just different topics of sexual assault and harassment, whether school bullying, whether employment, whether just general civil rights, disability discrimination, just on and on. So we are here, as you said, and as Morgan said, almost every single day. So that's multiple videos a day, covering Diddy and Cassie. And then also, today we dropped a new video of, 3 need to know tips for the bar exam. So go check that out, because those are things that people share with me that I'm not, we're not gatekeepers, and we're sharing with you. And really, please, if one thing you take from that video is adaptive bar. For anybody studying the bar right now, please check out Jonathan Grossman's adaptive bar
Yeah.
videos. He really gets into your mindset. And a friend of mine, shout out to him, he's a Columbia alum grad, Black male, love him, gave me that tip. And I wouldn't have known that if he hadn't given it to me. So I'm passing it on to you.
Absolutely. Now, also, one of the things I'm going to ask some questions that I, of course, did not tell you guys about before. But I just wonder, because you said Diddy, and we in Cali and New York. So, first question, I know it's from last year. Who won the Drake Kendrick battle?
Oh, that's Maureen can go.
Uh,
But she really, yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one
okay.
for her.
I'm from LA, so I'm Kendrick won, but I think it was close, and I think Drake's making his comeback, and I don't think he's down for long. But I'm LA till I die, so Kendrick did win.
What about
Morgan knows this already. I've never been a Drake fan like that. I'm not a Drake hater, but I can't sit here and lie, because there'll be people messaging me after, Michael, you literally said you're not a Drake fan. Morgan's been to concerts. I have not. I am an LA girl through and through. I love Kendrick. I love what he stands for. I love the Super Bowl performance he, to
Yes.
He
me,
did eat
put
that
on for the
up.
city, put
He
on
did eat that up.
for the values, and it was just so much artistry in that. I loved it. So I believe Kendrick won, and I think that he's a GOAT. So
I mean, I guess the reason I asked is, man, that's what we're missing this summer. Last year, man, we were like getting gems like every other week.
yeah,
It,
Every day,
yeah.
yes.
it,
Like, you hear that new track?
and
Right.
now it's just kind of quiet. I'm just waiting for somebody to be for something to start.
We need
But
something to.
also, since I got you guys here, you guys mentioned about the content about the Diddy trial and things like that. I want you guys also to kind of share what your thoughts are about what's going on with the Diddy trial, because I love being able to talk about the law in different facets, and I love you guys to be able to share your thoughts and opinions so people can go to the Law Chicks page and also see more content about what you guys think about
Um, I think it's just so
it.
horrendous
Yes,
what he has done, what he did for so many decades. Um, I did a post about why didn't Cassie leave, and that covers not just her but other survivors. And it's meant for you not to leave. It's meant to leave you with shame. It's meant to leave you
yes,
in silence. It's meant to leave. It's meant to make you not leave. I also want to again highlight, which I did in that post, about the fact that she was 19 when he met him, and there does seem to be kind of a reoccurring theme where people meet people at 19 and it's only 1 year removed from 18, and we now know in our society in particular 19 is basically 18.
yes,
So while you are technically legal in terms of your mental, emotional, psychological, you're still a teenager. It's teen at the end. And then thirdly, there's so much more to say, but I don't leave room for Morgan, is the fact that I want to give a lot of uh, kudos to Cassie. And I don't know if enough of that is happening.
yes,
To be able to share her story, $20 million, people are saying, oh, she made 20 million. That ain't nothing. That ain't nothing for what she endured. It could have gotten way more, and it still would not be enough. And the fact that she did eventually come forward to share, who knows if we would have really learned all of this if she had not dropped that lawsuit, which, by the way, my senior lawyers told me that that was an amazing complaint. So if you're looking for a complaint to study as a lawyer, that is a great complaint. So I just want to drop in that little tidbit that was shared with me. And the fact that she got on the stand and did what she did, she's helping people. These are tough topics. I understand every 68 seconds someone is sexually assaulted in this country. So it's difficult to talk about, but this is very common. So I want to just shout out her for her courage. And that's, she's gone on to have a family and get married and have kids. And so her strength is really incredible.
yes. I totally agree with you on that. Especially doing that with him being right there, present in the courtroom. I mean, the resilience and strength in her is unrivaled. What do you think, Gwen?
Yeah, I want to, from a legal perspective, just say there's a lot of misinformation out there. Everybody on the internet now is all of a sudden an attorney. Everybody went to law school and
That's part.
knows what RICO means, and they know exactly what's going to happen with the case. People are commenting saying that Cassie, took her money and now is suing him, and that shouldn't be fair, and she should have to return the settlement. And it's like, just to clarify, he's being sued by the state of California. The prosecutor is coming after him, not Cassie. And also just an understanding of RICO in terms of it being broad and being about doing things across state lines, of which Diddy has done. The prosecution, they're building their case. It's a slow
Yeah.
build, and just wait. And people are like, oh, this is a domestic violence case. It should be dropped. He should be let go. And it's like, okay, let's take our fake law degrees, put them away, do some actual research, and just adding also, commending Cassie, her
Yes.
journey, and what that must take. But I do want to say, people do need to be careful as far as spreading misinformation, and take the time to understand, what's actually happening. And that's a part of what our videos strive to do. I know it can be complicated or maybe seem very intimidating, but we want to try to break it down and make it accessible and relatable to people. I encourage people, ask ChatGPT something, just so you have a clear understanding of what's going on and don't continue to disseminate incorrect information.
Absolutely. And the reason why I asked those two questions is because I really want to provide an opportunity for people to find out about the things that you guys are discussing on the platform. And also, of course, to be able to showcase your expertise and also your amazing taste. And, of course, realizing, of course, Kendrick definitely did win the battle. But but I want to thank you guys so much for joining us. And for you guys out there, if I haven't said it already, make sure you follow the Law Chicks. Also, make sure that you reach out to the Law Chicks too for questions that you may have on your journey. We do not get to the places that we are by ourselves. And they, of course, now are part of the Becoming JD family, and they want to be able to help you guys win. So, again, I want to tell you guys thank you so much, and I'll let you guys say some final words so we get up out of here.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity, and your platform is amazing, and we are similarly aligned in our goals. So appreciate the resources that you're providing for people and doing talks like this to shepherd in the next generation of lawyers. Like Michael mentioned earlier, we had people pass it on to us, and we want to pay it forward. So keep on doing what you're doing, and hopefully we can see that stat rise over the years. So thank you.
Yes, thank you so much again for having us on the on this segment. We really appreciate the opportunity. Love what you're doing, as Morgan said, of just not gatekeeping and bringing in so many, particularly people of color into law. And I'm just here to say, the Law Chicks, wherever you're at, we are rooting for you. We are here to provide resources. We are here to provide, as Morgan said, accurate information in a way that's snapping and engaging, that you can conversational, to understand what is happening, because there is so much happening. And to anyone who's on the law journey, I want to tell you, this is the time, because there is so much happening in our society where we are needed, and people who care, people who understand what's happening, people who are culturally sensitive, people who are ethical. Not trying to be on my high horse, but I'm just saying we really are at a crossroads with a lot of things, which we could have a whole nother show for that. So I'm just saying this is really the time, and law is so powerful, as we're seeing in the headlines from morning to night. So if you are ever thinking about giving up, just look at a headline and be like, I could be a part of that. I could be a part of helping to change that. So don't give up, and we're rooting for you all the way over here on the Law Chick side.
Absolutely. And thank you guys out there so much for joining us on Making the Case for Your Dreams. Of course, we're going to be live in full effect every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If, in fact, you missed one of our past episodes, you can go to our YouTube channel at BecomingJD and catch all the amazing guests that we've been able to have on. So continue to fight for your lawyer dreams. She's praying for you. She's praying for you. And if you're a Drake fan, we praying for you too, all right?
Don't do that.
Oh, he coming back, all right? But continue to fight for the lawyer dreams. And until next time, we'll see you guys again. Peace and blessings.
Thank you.